Hello, welcome to the Drama Club Cooking Show. My name is Jamison and today we'll be making shrimp chilau. So first things first, we're going to start chopping our vegetables. Here I have 2 small sweet onions. And when you're chopping them, you're going to want to tape the bottom side with the dead sprouts coming out, and you're just going to want to cut that off. And then once you do that, you're going to have a nice clear view of the bottom, and then we're going to start peeling off the outside. And what I like to do is I like to score the outside peel, because then it just comes off really nice and easy. Now that you have a nicely peeled onion, you're just going to want to cut it down the middle, going down to the top. Then we're going to place it on the side and start cutting from the bottom, making even slits all the way up to the top. For a small sweet onion, you're going to get about 4 to 5 slits from bottom to the top. And then we're going to move on to straight down in equal sized spaces to get a nice even chop. Then you're just going to dice your onion. And as you can see, as I'm dicing it, the onion at this point is basically chopping itself. So we're just going to continue to do that with our other half and 1 onion. And now once you have that first onion chopped, you're just going to add it to a separate bowl. Place that off to the side and start chopping the other onion. And now that we've finished chopping our last onion, we're just going to grab our bowl that we set out to the side. I'm just going to put our second onion. Now we're going to grab our celery stalks. You're going to need 4. And what we're going to do is we're just going to cut off the top piece. And same with the bottom. And actually what I like to do with my leftover scraps is keep a bowl close to me so I can put the scraps in and use them later for compost. So the easiest way to cut a stalk of celery is to go straight down the middle. So you have 2 equal halves, and cut those 1 more time. And when you're cutting them up, you just want to make sure that you're going evenly spaced. That way you get nice, even sized pieces. And then we can just add that straight into our bowl with our onions. And just continue chopping. So now that we have our last stalk of celery chopped, we're just going to add it again into the bowl with our onions. And then the next thing you want to grab is your pepper. And what we're doing with our pepper right now is we're just cutting the top off, almost in a circle. That way you can just pull it off, and then all the seeds come out at the same time. And then you're just going to follow along the lines of the pepper. I like to cut mine in half for an easier cut. And then you're just going to take out the white piece. And when you're cutting a pepper, you want to make sure that you're not cutting on the skin, because the skin is the hardest surface of the pepper. So your knife will glide through if you cut it from the flesh of the side. Because if you're trying to cut it from the skin, again, it's much harder than just easily slicing through from the flesh side. So we're just going to cut it in, again, similar sized pieces to our lettuce and our celery. And we're going to chop up our entire pepper. Now that I'm done chopping up my green pepper, I'm just going to add it into the bowl with my celery and onions. Alright, so next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start heating up my pot. When I'm cooking, I like to keep my pot on low heat while I'm chopping up my vegetables. But now that I'm getting ready to cook, I'm going to turn it to medium, and I'm going to add about 2 tablespoons of a neutral oil. And now we're just gonna wait for our oil to heat up, and you know your oil is heated up when it glides and coats the pan. So now that I know that my pan is hot and my oil is hot, we're gonna add our green peppers, celery, and onions to the pot. And then we're just gonna stir it all around, making sure all the vegetables are nicely coated in our oil. Now we're just gonna let our pot cook for a few minutes just until the celery gets soft. If you wanna speed up the process, you can always put a lid on top of it, which will help the heat stay inside and secure. So now it's been about 5 minutes, so I'm gonna go ahead and give it a stir and check to see how the celery's cooking. Alright, so now after we've checked to see if our celery has gotten soft, it has. So now we're going to add our garlic. So now that I have my 3 cloves of garlic minced and added in, we're going to add our spices. And our spices consist of 2 bay leaves, 3 cloves, half a teaspoon of cumin, and half a teaspoon of oregano. And I do have to say the smell is amazing. So now that that's all incorporated, we're just going to let it sit for about 5 more minutes. Alright, so now that we have let our spices and garlic bloom with our vegetables, we're going to give that another stir. And then we're going to add our 28-ounce can of tomatoes. Then you're going to head over to the sink and fill up our can about halfway. And now that we have our half can of water, we're going to add 2 teaspoons of tomato paste. You're just going to add it right into the pot. I'm going to give that a good mix. And put it right into your pan. I'm just going to give that a nice stir and let it sit for 15 minutes. So now that we've waited about 15 minutes, we're going to take our lid off. Just going to give it a nice quick stir. And then we're going to add in our shrimp. And I know when I'm cooking chilau, I like to get my shrimp deveined and pre-peeled. It just makes the process a lot easier. And so now we're just going to wait about 3 minutes for our shrimp to cook. And I always like to have one headed towards the top, that way I can just see how everything's cooking. So while we're finished waiting for our shrimp to cook, we're going to go ahead and take our limes. And what I like to do is I like to roll it out just to make sure that when I cut it, it squeezes easily and I can get the most juice out of it. And another tip to get the most juice out is to cut it diagonally. And now we're just going to place that to the side so that when we're ready to plate it, we can add a little bit of garnish. So now that it's been about 3 minutes, our shrimp is cooked, and as you can see, it is no longer a grayish clear color. It is pink and beautiful and curly. So now that we're done with that, we're just going to take it off the heat, turn our stove off, and let that cool down for just a few minutes. And now for the final touches with seasoning, so you can add a little bit of salt. And this is where you would add your lime juice. Just going to give that a nice stir. So now that we've let our shrimp chilau cool off for a few minutes, it's time to plate. I personally like to serve mine with Cuban bread. Take it, add it right into the bowl. And there you have it, Shrimp Chilau. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the recipe. The Drama Club Cooking Show is sponsored by the Florida Keys Council of the Arts and Williams Hall.